Hi, this is Brad Chitterster with the Music Learning Workshop. Have you ever wished you could read music, find an easy proven way to learn music, find an affordable home study lesson, or improve your music skills and abilities without a lot of money and expense? Well, you're not alone. I've struggled with the basic idea of how to read and play music for years. I've bought dozens of books and only got pieces and parts of what I needed during that period of time. Finally, one day I discovered a new method that really worked for me. Let me explain. Learning music really is a two-part process. It involves technique and principles. In techniques, we learn how to play. We learn delivery of music. And this is actually working with your instrument. On the other hand, we talk about principles. And principles are about reading music and understanding music and its structure. So when you talk about the technique of playing, we really talk about the touch or the feel or the finesse on an instrument and how we can deliver that sound quality. It's about using certain fingerings to make things work right. It's about the strength and endurance and actually playing and working with your instrument. On the other hand, music principles or the theory are about learning what notes tell you in pitch and value, what timing is and what rhythm is about. It's about the structure, keys, and scales of music and how they work in a song. It's about chords and the flow of music and the progression. With most courses, they teach you a few basic ways to play. Maybe they give you a bass line to follow, something very simple that you can work out. You can play a melody or two and use some simple chord structures underneath it. You might learn to strum a few chords, pick a riff. But it's just enough to get by. It's never enough to truly understand and work with music. Now, the two ways that they teach music is, first, is what I call the bad way. It's note by note. You learn notes a little at a time. You learn what this note is. You learn what that note is. Well, folks learn to spell music and not really to read it. The big picture doesn't come for many months or even years after you start your music lessons. Here's an example. Here is a fifth interval. Now, intervals are simply the distance between two notes. But the funny thing is I've known people that have been taught for years and don't know this basic concept of what an interval is because they've been taught note by note for music. Really, music is much more than that. It's a language and a sport. The second way of teaching it is through principles. And that's kind of like the math and language of music. You learn music as a language. Hello, Bob could actually be considered a set of chords. It has letters, notes, and scales to it. A major scale is made up of notes and scales, and this is really kind of the alphabet of your music. It has words, and these are the chords, and they're based on simple mathematical principles. A math of an extended chord here is really a super jazz chord, which we call an F13. It's got all sorts of intervals involved with it, and once you learn the simple mathematics of that, these things become easy to understand. Music has sentences. It's made up of phrases of chords and notes, and that's really the question and answer aspect of a lot of music. You make a statement, you answer the statement. And it also has expression. It has loud, soft singing. It has delivery, which is the rhythm and the punctuation. It's all still based upon simple math. When you put all this together, it is like learning a sport. Now, music has structure and principles. It can be simple. It really can be simple, folks, because a lot of people make it far more difficult than it really is. It requires effort to learn, there's no doubt about that, but the payoff in learning is just extraordinary. Great composers were theorists. All the initial composers sat down and learned theory before they learned music. Naturally, some of these have learned that through just plain use, and others have done it through study. Your skill and level of ability are directly related to two things. The first is what you learn about music principles. The second is the effort you put into it after that. And there's just no way you get around it. You have to put effort into it. But effort is not the sitting down for an hour in a practice session and just running through some things. It's about short, focused, concentrated effort on a single element. We look at these chords right here. We may look at each one individually and how they're put together. Then we combine them together and look at them as a whole, and we start building on these steps to move up that chain ladder of learning music principles. That effort can be done in 10 minutes for a focused thing. The Music Learning Workshop has developed an easy, fast, affordable way to learn music principles. You can now reduce remarkably the amount of time needed to learn music. We're announcing here is a fast and easy way to learn music. It's the Getting It Down Cold Music Theory course. You can learn music without getting brain damage. You don't have to have a college education to really learn the basic principles of music and learn 90% of what you're going to need to get through your music career. There's over 4 years of music theory in this 1-year program, and it's going to all be done in that amount of time. Why would we think about doing the music theory course? Well, just reading books doesn't cut it. You need to work through these music elements. That means taking a hands-on approach. It means really sitting down and working through each of these music elements. Now, reference books are just that. They're set there and made to refresh your memory and help you work through something you may have forgotten about or hadn't studied for a while. If you try to do that on your own with reference books, it's a lot more effort on your part. And what you got to realize is reference books show you things, they don't teach you things. If you're going to learn it, you're going to have to take down and spend the time to really dig through it and learn it on your own. That's why we always like this hands-on approach of helping you do that in a very systematic approach. Now here's what you'll learn in the course. It's a beginner through intermediate music theory course. And actually we get onto the advanced concepts as well. You explore all the music elements that we've talked about previously, from the notes up through the chords. You get the necessary basic elements down